My name's Jake. I was addicted to heroin and meth and basically anything in between. I had a good family, I had a really good family. Dad was a hard worker, he provided for us, he made sure we never went without. But I never felt like I fit in. I had my little brother who got everything, and then my sister who was like the golden child, and then you have me who was like, I was overweight, I was hard at making friends, I liked being off on my own. At the time I didn't know, but my mom had a drug problem. And I always thought, she'd always say she'd have a headache or like this, that, and the other, that's why she's in bed. And then at 12, I remember picking my mom up off the floor in front of our front door, and that really opened me up to like what was going on. Like my dad finally came clean in the family, like it was just our dirty little secret, At home wasn't safe because of my parents and my mom's issues and stuff like that, and at school wasn't safe because I got picked on a lot, so I felt like I did not have anywhere to go. I remember writing in my notebook, I hate my life. And my mom reading it and like her breaking down to me and like saying like, you never say that. You might not like your life at this point in time, but you never say you hate it. And I once again felt like I got in trouble for something because of how I felt. I felt like I could never tell them exactly what was going on. The only safe place I had was my grandma's house. She was a very pivotal person in my life. High school came around, I started playing football, and that was my safe zone. Like I got to take out all my anger on people and no repercussions. I was so afraid of hurting people, like I would never stand up for myself. I would never fight back when people would put hands on me because I didn't want to hurt them. I didn't want to hurt them and make them hate me more. Football was my outlet, that was my thing, and I was good. I was really good. I started both sides. I was varsity my freshman year. And then I got hurt. Snapped both my bones in my right leg, and I couldn't play anymore. So like once again, I don't know where I belong. These friends that I have, I didn't feel like they were really my friends because, I don't play football with them anymore, so I don't feel like I had that brotherhood. I found out that my dad smoked weed, so I thought that was okay, like dad does it, why not me? I sold weed, and I was a guy at the party that had whatever you needed. It worked out all right for, a couple, high school I did well. I was a good student, I never got in trouble at school. They tried to catch me several times, but they never could because I was always one step ahead, I was smarter than them. I was also my best customer because, I would end up doing everything that I had. Cocaine came into play my senior year. At that time I was dating a girl who I thought I was in love with. We've been dating for like 2 years at that time, and she cheated on me with a friend that I had had since 3rd grade. And it like destroyed me, it broke me. I'm the type of guy, like I fall hard. If I find, because I had such an image problem, I had such a self-respect problem and self-esteem problem, like pills were like my downfall. Like I could quit coke cold turkey and never touch it again. But pills, like I didn't know what physical withdrawal was. I didn't know what any of that shit meant. I thought, and like it was started as a weekend thing, and then it became like an every other day thing, and then it just became an everyday thing. I saw the combination in my dad's safe when I was 8, and I remembered it at 18. I remembered how to break into a safe, so I started stealing money out of a safe, stole jewelry, and this is before even heroin came into play. Like this was just for pills, and to pay my drug dealers back because I was so bad at selling dope and, making money on it instead of just, selling it and buying more dope for myself. I remember my dad found foils with pill like residue and stuff on them in my room at the time, and I came in and he's like, what is this? And I came clean to him, kind of. I told him what it was, but I told him, it's old, I hadn't done it in a while. I could manipulate my dad faster than anybody. I was really good at it. I could play his heartstrings because I would always play the victim of my mom and dad. Their divorce was real rough on me, and I could never do it to my mom because my mom could see through it because she was the same person I was. She was an addict just as much as I am. So 19 and 20 rolled around, and that's when, I remember I was off pills for 6 months. I brought a girl home to my dad's house at 3:30 in the morning. I was out past curfew. I wasn't drunk, she was drunk, and I remember when she met my dad, she was using the wall as a kickstand, trying to shake his hand. And my dad said I need to get the fuck out. So I got out and I packed all my stuff and went to her house, and she was smoking something on foil, and I thought it was oxy, and it was heroin. The moment I took a hit of that, it changed my life. It made me not care about anything else going on around me. I didn't know what being a slave was to, a substance or anything like that until heroin. I stole from everybody. I would break into my mom's house, and I made my parents think they were crazy. I would steal money from my dad, steal money from my mom, convince them I didn't do it. And by the time, they would find out it was me, I was gone like the wind. I remember I stole a necklace from my stepmom that my dad got her for her birthday. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. My dad called me, and I knew what the call was about. I knew seeing his phone, that early, I'm like, oh, this, what lie am I gonna come up with next? And he told me I had an hour to get home. I didn't come home for like 6 hours. I made sure I was good and twisted before I got home. And I remember driving down Olive towards his house and surprised, and I'm like, what am I gonna tell him this time? And a little voice finally spoke up. He's like, just tell him you need help. I just turned 21 at that day, like a month prior to that. And so I told my dad I needed help, and he put me in treatment for the first time. Everything was good, I got sober, and like I was all about it, I'm like, I feel good, but I wasn't doing anything, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't working any steps. I had a sponsor only in name really. Like I got through my 1 through 9, and once I got to 9, I was like, oh, the amends I need to make are to my parents. Like, they're good, like they're cool with it. They know what I'm doing, everything's good. I was high within 9 months. I relapsed when I was 22, and I went on a 3.5-year run. That run ended me in prison. I was stealing cars. I was homeless by choice. I had a little girl that was born in 2013 that I completely abandoned because I thought I was being a better dad by not being around and yelling at her than my dad was for yelling at me. I went to prison in 2015, May of 2015. I got out in August of 2015. I had been incarcerated for about 10 months at the time. I was drinking the day I got out at my mom's house because, it was alcohol. Alcohol in my family is okay. They don't understand, My mom understands, but she doesn't really acknowledge anything. I purposely got my halfway house in my old neighborhood, like where I used to run around homeless. It was on 23rd Avenue in Northern. I found a halfway house that would take me in. I didn't have to have money right away. And I remember my mom dropped me off. I slept there. I didn't go out or anything like that. But the next morning I woke up at like 6:30, and I went roaming the old stomping grounds, seeing who's still around. I hadn't seen anybody in about 10 months. I got high. And the house manager there, she looked at me and she's like, are you high right now? And I'm like, no, I'm not high right now. What are you talking about? And so she drug tested me. And before she drug tested me, I broke down to her. I'm like, yes, I'm high, yada, yada, yada. So she gave me a chance. She told me, go in your room, lay down, sleep if you can, and we'll talk about it tomorrow morning. Then they let me out. I finally was able to get out again. Got high again. Well, someone else in the apartment I lived in got high, so they tested the whole place. I got dropped, came up dirty, so I was out. They said I had to be gone for 72 hours. So here I am, homeless again, in my old neighborhood. I went to the only place I knew where to go, which was the dope man's house, I did that. I went on like a 2-week runner. Finally, went to my probation officer. I'm on probation this whole time. Hadn't checked in with my PO. Finally showed up to my probation officer because my best friend drugged my ass there. And I literally just laid my head on his desk and said, take me to jail, do whatever you want to do with me. I just can't do this anymore. And he told me, he's like, you have a choice. You can either go get help or go back to jail. My grandma died on Christmas last year. Like my best friend, the woman who has always been there for me, she died unexpectedly. Within about 3 weeks of us finding out she was in the hospital, and it destroyed me. It made me really regret that she never got to see me sober. She never got to, since I started using, she never got to meet my daughter. It took about 2 weeks of isolating, contemplating, planning, and I went out. I went to the hospital because I was real sick. I had been getting sick a lot, and I went to the hospital and got an albuterol treatment, and it felt like I was high on meth again. So I used that because I was gonna pop dirty for amphetamines anyway. So I went out and got some, I went and got high. That one time getting high, I was homeless again, stealing cars again. I texted my aunt and told her I can't do this anymore. I don't wanna do this anymore. I wanna just go run out in traffic. It's really where I'm at right now. And she's like, call your dad, he'll help you. And I was so afraid to call my dad because of just the shame and the guilt of, doing it again. Here he is, has to shell out more money for me. And so I didn't at first. And then I got a message at noon the following day on May 3rd. Hadn't gotten high at all. I was sick. And I checked my Facebook, and my aunt said, your dad's gonna be on 19th Avenue in Northern from 1 to 1:15. I'm on 51st and Olive at this time. And it's 12:45. There was no way I was making it. So I text my dad and I'm like, hey, I'm on 51st and Olive, I'll be at Burger King. Come get me. And he came and got me. And so I came and I did 105 days, and within that 105 days, something happened. Something changed inside me. I started liking myself. I started figuring out the cores of my issues, I actually did some work. I got a sponsor. I started working steps. I took suggestions. I stopped fighting and just started saying, why not, It's probably the greatest thing I've ever done. I have people that count on me, that know I will show up whenever they ask. And, you know, I have a little girl that just looks up to me. She loves me. And that is the best feeling, because I never thought I was worth that love. I never thought, like, who am I? Like, I'm just a convicted felon drug addict that likes to live on the streets, you know, and today I don't have to. Today I have this core group of people that call me every day if I don't call them. You know, I have my dad's in my life today more so than he's ever been in my entire, you know, ever before. You know, and it helps me remember. Like, I remember the last time I got high. I don't remember what I did, but I remember how I felt. This has probably been it is the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. The only thing you have to change is everything.